Hey, this is Eddie Olczyk. You're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mac, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 102 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Nick Manella, and I'm going to go ahead and toss it off to my buddy. It's just the two of us today. Harrison is somewhere in Mexico, I think, last time we heard from him, but we'll let you know if we hear anything. Mac Vogel, what's going on, dude?
Same old, just the two of us. Pretty sure there's a song about that. Yeah, I'm ready to roll, ready to talk some hockey as always.
Nice. How was your weekend?
It was a pretty good weekend. Those like Mondays where somebody's like, "How was your weekend?" And you're like, "It was good," and then like you can't remember a single thing that you did.
Yeah,
it's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I'm like, what did I even do this weekend?
Was that like a lazy you can't remember, or is it like what happened to me where I can't remember?
I think kind of somewhere in between.
Gotcha.
Actually, I do know what I did this weekend, and it was a whole lot of nothing. The second day we were gonna have like one chill day and then like one going out day, and then the going out day didn't materialize because it was planned around a buddy who was gonna come visit, and then he ended up getting sick, not coming. And so then we were like, I guess let's just do nothing again. So
nice. I love doing nothing. It's like my favorite thing to do.
It's kind of nice not having to worry about like, okay, guys, we got to leave soon for the bar or whatever. Like we all just like, I mean, by do nothing, I mean like friends came over and we just had some beers like
exactly
at the apartment. So it was a good time.
Nice.
It's also just so fucking cold here. So like that kind of eliminates a lot of the motivation to like go anywhere.
True.
So yeah, we had some fun though.
Nice. We went to Georgetown for the weekend. My girlfriend and I got to, walk around, go to like a little beer garden right next to the Kennedy Center, that kind of stuff. She got to do some shopping, 2 amazing dinners. And
there's a lot of good eats in that area.
Oh man, that spot Nobu in Foggy Bottom is just out of this world.
Nice. Yeah, good stuff.
Well, we don't have too much to get into today. So before we do that, we just want to remind everyone that go check out that fall merch. Our design guy, Clay, who helps run our store, did a great job with helping us get that stuff up and running. It looks great. Don't forget to sign up for the giveaway. You have to post on your story, tag 2 friends, and, follow the instructions on the Instagram post. But that winner is going to be announced on Black Friday. So be sure to have your
days left.
Yeah. Be sure to have your phones on for that one, because you don't want to miss out on all that free stuff. But before we hop into anything serious, Mac, do you have a topic of the day or question of the day you want to throw at us?
Ooh, let me think here. What do I got? All right. I think we've actually talked about this before, but let's like get it officially on the pod so we can like set the record straight.
Gotcha.
Light beer power rankings. Let's go.
Ooh, like domestic light beer power rankings.
I think I'm gonna toss like 4 or 5 staples out there. We don't need to do like every single one, but let's rank like Miller Lite, Coors Light, Bud Light, and Busch Light. Yeah, there you go. and you know what? Natty Light, let's get it in there too. So
fair, very fair.
And to be fair, before we start, we're not talking about Miller High Life. We're not talking about any of the like offshoots,
genuine draft, nothing.
Nope, none of that. It's Miller Lite, Coors Light, Busch Light, Natty Light. What's the one that I am forgetting now? I said 5 of them.
Miller Lite, Coors Light, Busch Light, Natty Light.
There was another one. Oh, Bud Light.
Yeah.
Very, very forgettable.
Yeah, it is. All right. Let me hear. Are we starting from the bottom and going to the top, or starting from the top and going down?
Bottom up. I think I'm going to put Bud Light at 5. I don't really like Bud Light very much. It's fine, but it's
fine. If I'm at a Ravens game, I will drink Bud Light until I'm, blue in the face. But like if I'm going to like a Caps game or pretty much any other sporting event, I'll go out of my way not to order it. Now, if I'm at a bar and it's Friday night and
it's like the cheapest thing they got, and
I just say to the guy, like, can I have a bucket or, 6 of them now, because all they have to do is just open, boom,
Right.
and out, you're done. No one's trying to climb over you at the bar. So that's, I think, what it's good for. But taste wise, not up there for me at all.
I would agree. So we can agree Bud Light, number 5. Number 4, this is probably where we're going to differentiate, because I think I would probably put Busch Light here for me.
And that's fair. And this is where we are going to differentiate, because that's where I'm going to put Miller Lite.
Okay. Yeah. Which is, for any of you on YouTube, you can tell that I'm currently drinking a Miller Lite and Nick's drinking a Busch Light. So.
True. So after that, I think is where it's going to get real interesting.
Yeah. This is tough. I think, God, this is very tough for me, actually. I really like Miller Lite, Coors Light, and Natty Light quite a bit.
Same. -1, but yeah.
Yeah, I am a huge Natty Light guy. I don't know why I like that beer so much. It's so cheap. It's insanely cheap just because it's not like a name brand, you go to there's this grocery store down the street, and Miller Lite 30-pack always is like $21.99, something like that. Coors Light is like $20.99 or right around there. Natty Light 30-pack is always $13.99. So like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you
It's just simple dollars and cents right there.
Exactly. Like you're under $20 for 30 beers. That's great.
And like not that much of a notice in
no, exactly.
Difference. Like
if you poured that shit in a Miller Lite can, I guarantee you nobody would be confused.
No, absolutely not.
Sure, this is Miller Lite. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of gets looked down on just because it's like that stereotypical college beer, but
right.
I know a handful of people that drink that religiously, even to this day.
Yeah, I would say based on price, I would want to put it like number 1. But if we're just talking, like if we're just pretending that somebody offered me all 5 of those beers for free and I could just have whatever one for free, I think I'd have to go Bud Light 5, Busch Light 4, Natty Light 3, Miller Lite 2, Coors Light 1.
Wow. I thought Miller Lite was going to be number 1 for you.
I was actually going to say Miller Lite and Natty could flip-flop. Like Miller might even be 3 for me, Natty 2. Coors Light, I think, is my favorite one. It's very inoffensive. It's as cold as the Rockies. The can is nice. I will say it's annoying though that the cans are like a little taller and a little skinnier because like if you have a mini fridge, it can't fit in that like beer part of it.
Or like if you have like one of those like brewmate things, you have to get like the adapter for it. I know like such a beach problem, but what are you gonna do? So I think mine would have to be Bud Light 5, Miller Lite 4. I would probably say Natty Light 3, Coors 2, Busch 1.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And that's the NASCAR in you, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Honestly, I actually hated Miller Lite like through like end of high school and even beginning of college. I was not big on it, but just having lived in Milwaukee for several years now, it just gets like,
I feel like you don't have a choice.
It gets pushed on you, and it's like $3 at like every single bar you go to. Like even if it's like a bougier bar, that's like the one price that basically just doesn't change. You're never gonna pay more than like maybe $4 for like a can of Miller Lite.
Right.
So based on that alone, like you end up drinking it a lot, and then I think you just end up liking it a little more the more that you have it. So I do like Miller Lite now, but I still like Coors Light more.
Cool. Yeah, we just went through this. My family's hosting Thanksgiving, so we're like trying to like parcel out. It's like, okay, I know this uncle drinks that uncle drinks this, so. Yup. Alrighty, well, let's hop into the news. But before we do, Mac, I think you have something to tell us about Brackish Life.
Yeah, let's take a minute to talk about Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the water and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It's Real Bay apparel made by Real Bay people. Head to brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh, Brackish Life. Brackish Life is also teamed up with Rink to Reef Chesapeake Bay to preserve the area many of us call home. Rink to Reef repurposes broken hockey sticks into oyster restoration habitats. Brackish Life donates a portion of their proceeds to Rink to Reef to further preserve the beautiful Chesapeake Bay area. Support this great cause by checking out www.brackish.life today. And with that, let's get into some hockey talk.
Yeah. First thing I want to talk about today is ESPN. So I think like our last 3 episodes now, we've sort of made it a point to point out that we're not happy with the coverage that they have been providing for the NHL this season, their first season having it in a very long time. This is, I think, worth listening to. So there's not going to be a single nationally televised game on ESPN, 1, 2 classic news, 8, like whatever, on any of the, nationally broadcasted networks between October 26th and January 6th.
Sad and stupid and besides the point, because I thought the whole thing was that ESPN was trying to grow the game, but really they're just like, oh, but now is football season and basketball season, so we can't really pay attention to that until those are like over, which like, whatever. I get people want to see what they want to see, but like you gotta at least, like, the fact that it's 0 games is absurd to me.
You can't throw one in there.
Exactly. I would understand, like, yeah, it's going to be like lower coverage until the NFL season is over or whatever. But like, come on, 0. That's fucking stupid. I'm tired of like not being able to watch. Excuse me. Tired of not being able to watch games like on national TV. I was at a bar last night watching the Marquette basketball team get their fucking asses kicked by St. Bonaventure. And when the game was over, I wanted to ask the bartender, like, oh, you could throw on the Caps game, but I couldn't even ask them to do that because they don't have ESPN Plus.
Right.
They have ESPN and TNT and all the channels that we thought the NHL was supposed to fucking be on.
Right.
But I had to leave the bar and then go home and boot up ESPN Plus on my like Xbox app, and
which sucks, by the way. That app is horrible.
Yeah.
We've talked about how the only good thing so far, in my opinion, out of their coverage, and I like a lot of the personalities that are on there, and I think they're doing a good job with that, is the ESPN Plus, package. Now that's great if you pay for it and you can watch all those out of market games like we do when we stay up until 10 trying to make money. But if you don't, your hockey like is basically gone now. You're like, unless you're, paying for it somewhere else, which I don't know how, but
I'm lucky just because my dad bought the package for my grandpa, because my grandpa's a diehard Caps fan. He wants to be able to watch every game, and so my dad got it for him as a present, and then was nice enough to give me the login info for that as well. So I lucked out, but not everybody's that lucky. I saw even Connor Carrick tweeted last night that he was like, oh, I would really love to watch the Kraken and Capitals game right now, but whoops, I can't because it's not on TV and I'm getting a blackout message because he like probably lives in that area or whatever.
Right.
And it's just like, yeah, ridiculous.
So I think the way I look at this is they hit great ratings numbers on opening night. They said it was like the best, they had their like TNT doubleheader, they had the one game at 7 and then the other game at, 10. But it's like after that, like first week and a half, it was like TNT, ABC. They were just like, okay, like we did hockey. We're good. We don't have to do that anymore. But so I guess my question to you is, like, do you think they'll do something to fix this before the playoffs, or do you think this is just a lost cause at this point?
Well, I heard a lot of people on Twitter specifically were trying to like calm down the angry mob that's out there bitching about it like we are right now. A lot of people were trying to play devil's advocate and say like the whole package and the whole agreement was centered around like playoffs for the NHL, and that's like what the focus is going to be. So I still have faith that like when shit gets real intense for the NHL, like down the stretch and all the games start to matter way more, and as we're getting closer to playoffs, hopefully we'll see the coverage pick up then. And maybe then we'll get like the growth of the game where people will be like, holy shit. Like, cause those are the games where it's like you turn on any random game on any given night and you're going to watch a great game. Like, so
absolutely.
I'm hoping that that's when the mainstream coverage picks up so that any Joe Schmo who's flipping through channels sees a game, leaves it on for 5 minutes and he's hooked because it's good hockey,
Yeah. I would have to completely agree. I really think that it's going to be a disaster if they don't, because, if I have to try and, jump through all these hurdles to watch playoff hockey games, I'm going to lose my mind. Let's go ahead and move on. We had a Hockey Hall of Fame induction to round up. The Hockey Hall of Fame welcomed its class of 2020 on Monday night as 6 new members received the highest honor in the sport. This ceremony was pushed back a year due to COVID because, of course, what hasn't that changed in the last 2 years? Players to be inducted were Marian Hossa, 3-time Stanley Cup winner in 2010, 2013, and 2015, all with the Hawks. And he's the first player in NHL history to play in 3 straight Cup finals with 3 different teams. Did that with the Wings in 2008, the Penguins in 2009, or the other way around, I think.
It would have been, the Wings in 2008 and the
No, other way around,
No,
because he lost.
yes,
those.
he lost
Yeah.
the first 2, which is
Yeah.
pretty funny. He was in 3 in a row, lost the first 2, and everyone was like, "No way, that's crazy. He was on the wrong team each year."
Right.
And everyone was like making fun of him for that. And then the 3rd year he comes back and finally wins it with the Hawks,
and then wins 2 more.
Yeah, exactly. So insane.
Good for him. I'm glad he got in. Another guy I'm happy
he's a
to see
legend.
in there. Yeah, of
love
course.
that guy.
Yeah. So nasty too. Jerome Ginla, happy to see that guy in there. One of only 20 players in NHL history to reach the 600 goal plateau. Won the Rocket Richard Trophy twice in 2002 and 2004. The Art Ross Trophy the same year in 2002. Lester Pearson the same year in 2002. And then won 2 Olympic golds, one in 2002 and one in 2010. Kevin Lowe, 6-time Stanley Cup winner, 84, 85, 87, 88, 1990, and 1994. And he's the only player in Edmonton Oilers history to play in 1,000 regular season games. Interesting. Maybe don't trade away every player you draft first overall.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah. Kim St Pierre, she's the first female netminder inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, 3-time Olympic gold medalist in 2002, 06, and 2010, and a 5-time World Championship gold medalist. Those are some pretty impressive numbers. Doug Wilson goes in as well. Norris Trophy winner in 1982, led all Blackhawks defensemen in scoring for 10 consecutive seasons, holds the 4th highest single goal total by a blue liner in NHL history, and that is 39 for one season. And then the only other person to go in as a builder would have been Ken Holland, 4-time Stanley Cup winner as an executive, 3 as a GM in 98, 02, and 08, and is one of 5 GMs in NHL history to guide his teams to more than 1,000 regular season wins. Out of all of those, who do you think was most deserving?
God, it's so tough. They're all fantastic. I'd say Hossa or Iginla probably jumps out the most to me, but that's also more just because I'm familiar with those two based on like the era that I grew up in. I got to see those guys play live, both of them. So that's probably a little bit biased on my part, but
Yeah.
hats off to all of them.
Yeah, well said. I would definitely say those two as well. It was such a treat to watch them play. Fenway Sports Group is in advanced talks to purchase the Pittsburgh Penguins. So Harry's not here, but I can hear like the screaming starting now.
Yeah, pretty funny.
So Ron Burkle and Mario Lemieux have been the Penguins' majority owners since '99. The NHL Board of Governors, ultimately, before anything goes through, before we jump into this, I just want to say, if you don't know why the Board of Governors has to approve the sale of a hockey team, please go watch the 30 for 30 called Big Shot, and you'll understand why. It's one of the best stories in sports.
Yep.
So the big question is, who is this Fenway Sports Group? Well, like the name will tell you, billionaire John Henry is the principal owner of Fenway Sports Group, whose portfolio includes the Boston Red Sox, Liverpool of the English Premier League, and then now Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing of NASCAR, because I know you guys all care about that so much. NBA star LeBron James has a stake in the company, and according to sources, Lemieux is expected to retain a minority stake in the team if the sale goes through, because the Penguins couldn't afford to pay him. What do you think about this? This sort of came out of absolute nowhere.
So the way I understand it, I don't think that this will change much for like fans. I don't think they're going to move the team or anything like that. Although the Penguins were pretty close to moving not too long ago, like a decade ago or so. I remember in middle school, they were actually very close to moving to like Kansas City. And there was a couple other front runners for that as well. But then they got Crosby and the whole, we're not going to get into all that garbage, but
yeah.
Anyway,
we'll make it a fair fight next week when Harrison's back.
Exactly. But no, I mean, it doesn't really make a difference to me who owns my least favorite team in the NHL. They're still going to be my least favorite team in the NHL. And, I hate all things that involve the Boston Bruins and the Boston Red Sox. So I have no problem continuing to hate that.
Yeah, this just it seems like it's like the Legion of Doom for us. It's like we both hate the Red Sox.
Mhm.
I'm not a big LeBron fan. I respect him. He's talented, but I'm not a big LeBron fan.
Yeah.
Personally, don't like Brad Keselowski or Jack Roush, so don't really care. And then, I can't stand Liverpool. They put an ass whooping on Arsenal this weekend anyway. So, I'd have to agree. This is just, a bunch of people who owns teams that I don't like.
Ridiculous.
Something else I thought, and this one sucked. I hated this story, but this is just so hard to hear.
I have a question about this after you go, but I'll let you explain it first.
So Minnesota native and current Dallas Stars player Riley Tufte was scheduled to play for the Stars the other night in Minnesota, and was scratched 1 hour before game time. So
and this would have been his first NHL game, right?
I don't think it would have been his first. I think
it was
his first in Minnesota.
Right, which is where his family's from and everything.
Right. So he spends all his call-up money, parceling up tickets for family and friends. Because, why not? If you can get everyone there, you might as well. And, I'm sure all the coaches and, people that supported him and even, a guy on the opposite team who's from the same place, Nick Bukestad, shipped in to help him cover the cost of all these tickets because I'm sure they know each other from growing up. But
which that's also so sick, by the way. Nick Bukestad, hats off.
And then 1 hour before the game, he gets health bombed. And if that wasn't the worst part, then all of his family and friends that are already at the game by then had to watch the Stars get blown out 7-2. I saw a ton of people just calling for Rick Bowness's head online after this. What was your impression?
So I agree. I was pretty pissed for him. And I was like, God, that's such a shitty situation. But the first post I saw about this was on Instagram. And the caption was Rick Bowness is a hero. And
it was the NHL discussion post, right?
Yeah. Was that just sarcasm or something?
That's how I interpreted it. But
the way, for some reason, the way they said it and the picture they used, I was like, wait, I'm trying to understand. And they also had that quote from Rick Bowness that was explaining why he had to do that or whatever. And that he was sorry about it, but it's the way it goes. And I just couldn't understand why we're supposed to pull anything good about Rick Bowness out of that.
Right.
I guess maybe the sarcasm just went over my head. Maybe that's the issue. But in general, I love Rick Bowness. I've talked about how I love Rick Bowness on this podcast before. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a Class A guy. However, this one is not great. It's also not good timing for him because there's a lot of people calling for his head before this even happened just because the Stars are they have a pretty good team and they're not playing that well.
No.
I know a lot of people are wanting him to get canned, but I understand hockey's a business. I understand that, you got to do whatever you got to do. But at the same time, some of those guys that got healthy at the last moment and were now available to play or whatever, some of those guys have been the Stars, worst players. So if I know they're all superstar players and you don't want to scratch Jamie Benn or whatever, and you don't want to scratch whoever, but at the end of the day, some of them have fucking sucked so bad. They could probably use a good scratch. When the Caps had Burakovsky and we would constantly scratch him to see if that would light a fire under his ass or whatever.
And then he would come back in and score 2.
Right. And then it just goes to show they started all their best players that were supposed to be scratched because they were injured or COVID or whatever the fuck, and they lose 7-2. So the Stars are a dumpster fire, basically.
They are a big
time. The moral of the story.
They have a
good roster full of good hockey players, and they're not getting it done. So as much as I love Bowness, it actually might be time for him to find a new job.
Yeah, this just sucks. I saw so many people comparing it to, Babcock scratching Modano ahead of his 1,000th game, which, don't get me wrong, that's probably the pettiest thing I've ever heard of anyone doing. But I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare the two. Yes, this is not this is a little bit of a dick move. I get it's a business. I really hope this kid gets another kick at it, in Minnesota with his family and friends there. And I'm sure if that situation presents itself, that Rick Bowness would step in and probably pay for every single one of those tickets.
I could see it. Yeah. Like I said, he is a good guy. It's not, he wasn't doing this to be evil.
No.
He did what he thought he needed to do, and that's kind of as simple as that. But I understand the frustration from everybody. And like I said, I think there was already a lot of frustration towards him, and this just didn't help.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on from that to the feel-good story of the week, Kevin Hayes returns to the lineup for the Philadelphia Flyers and scored his first goal of the season. He dedicated the moment to his late brother, Jimmy, who passed away earlier this year, as we've covered. He said, "I'm happy it happened sooner rather than later. Honestly, it was a big goal. The trainers got the puck for me. I'm going to give it to Jimmy's son, Bo, and it'll be one I remember forever." Just awesome to hear. That it's just such a sad, situation, what happened with his brother. And, it's good to see that, he'll have that memento forever.
Always been a big Kevin Hayes guy, and this simply adds to it. Class act. Absolutely happy for him to get that goal, and sweet of him to give that to Jimmy's son too.
Yeah, for sure. Before we move on to cover, housekeeping stuff, injury signings, all that jazz, there's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. And I know you and I had been texting about it previously. So the Washington Capitals have their road trip out west, right? So that usually includes the 3 California teams. Every now and then they throw a Seattle or like a Vancouver at you, but typically you're going down, you're doing Anaheim, you're doing LA, you're doing San Jose, whatever order. So the Caps had Anaheim first, LA second, and San Jose third, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep, that's right.
I want to talk about the LA Kings uniforms that were worn the other night. The white ones. Oh, baby. Yeah. These were sexy. Until they showed me the buckets that they paired with them. And oh man, we got a problem.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't get the appeal of these chrome domes that like people are trying to rock. I even saw a post from one of the hockey accounts on Instagram shortly after this game that was like, what other teams would you like to see rocking chrome helmets? And it like showed,
that sounds like a bar down post right there.
Yeah, it showed like mock up posts for like the Jets wearing like a chrome blue one, and like the Wild wearing like a green chrome one. And I was just like, oh my God. And all the comments were like, no, like all of them were just like, fuck off. Like nobody wants it. They're
like,
ugly.
What are they doing? Are they getting their design ideas from like Orange County Choppers, like that show with like where they built motorcycles like back in the day? No, come on.
It's Bender shit. Anybody that like knows hockey real well is going to tell you it's Bender shit. You get made fun of for wearing shit like that on the ice, and you shouldn't be doing it in the NHL for damn sure. So
no, it's complete dust bunny gear. It's just,
it looks a little better than the fucking Knights one, but that's not saying much because they just both suck.
Yeah. So it's like pick your poison, the one that looks like a city trash can or the one that looks like C-3PO's head.
Okay, that's good. That's very good. My sister was also at that Kings game, and I was texting her, and like, granted, she's not a hockey purist, like, and she also lives in LA, so she's a little flashy at times. But I was texting her, I was like, you got to be kidding me with these helmets, and she was like, I kind of like them or whatever. And I was like, okay, sure, but just know that they look absolutely insane on TV. And she was And she was like, okay, prove it. So I sent her a video of me watching the TV and like the fucking silver garbage can helmets like flying back and up and down the ice. And I sent it to her, and she was like, okay, that do be looking goofy as hell though. So,
but it's like, it'd be one thing if it looked good, but it doesn't fit. It's like, okay, that uniform it's like fine. Okay, those gloves match, the pants match. And then it's just like this shiny ass helmet for no apparent reason other than to be a shiny ass helmet
bucket, or like even a black one. I think
black one would have looked sick.
Or even like, why not just like gray? Why does it have to be like silver, shiny, looks like you're wearing a mirror on your head?
And it could be like, it could be like reflective,
Yeah. Just make it like silver, but like a silver car or something,
Yeah.
You don't see silver cars that are like bouncing light off of it because somebody's gonna get in a fucking accident.
Oh, so true. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for all the news. But before we get into some housekeeping stuff, we just want to remind everyone that summer may be over, but there has still never been a better time to get out on the water. Are you looking to finance that new boat or yacht you've always dreamed of? Well, you're in luck, because the Yacht Lender is a specialist in marine finance. With partnerships with 15 different banks, he is the right lender for whatever vessel you may be in the market for. Backed by Trident Funding with over 25 years as an industry leader, the Yacht Lender has the expertise and know-how to finance the boat of your dreams. Don't wait. Apply today at www.yachtlender.com or check him out on Instagram at yachtlender to see others who have already gotten out on the water. I appreciate you chugging while I do the ad reads.
Thank you.
Bless you. That was impressive. So some pretty key injuries to get to this week. The most notable, I would have to say, is Aleksander Barkov. He's week to week after an ugly knee-on-knee hit with Scott Mayfield of the New York Islanders. Mayfield was immediately given a 5-minute major and tossed from the game, but is not going to face any further discipline. I know we talked about this in our group chat a little bit.
I think that's the right call.
I would agree. It was a knee-on-knee hit. It was a scary hit, but I don't think it was intentional.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do think you have to bounce him from the game for something like that. It's just kind of the way, whether it was intentional or not, it's kind of the way that it goes with those sort of things. But I commend the NHL for finally getting one of these right and not suspending him or anything like that. He didn't do it on purpose. It was a weird collision. A lot of those knee-on-knee, there's really no in between. Like those knee-on-knee hits are always either like brutal and it's some like idiot, like fucking Chris Simon, like trying to like ruin some guy's career, or it's just an absolute like accidental collision that both guys are like, ah, shit, I really wish that didn't happen.
Right.
And
it's the result of the game being played at the speed which it is now.
Exactly.
I'm either going to hit this guy and it's going to be clean, or he's going to see me at the last second and go to move, and then it's someone's getting hurt. So
and then it's a combination of both, and somebody tries to step out of the way and then you hit him in the wrong spot, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully he heals quickly. I mean, that's a great player, Barkov. We want to see him back on the ice soon. He's fun to watch, and wishing him the best.
Yeah. The Islanders' Ryan Pullock is out for 4 to 6 weeks with a lower body injury. Big loss for the Islanders. Seemed to be in pain after blocking a shot and then limped straight to the bench during the second period of last Monday's clash with the Bolts. The Rangers lost Sammy Blais for the season with a knee injury, torn ACL in his right knee, which occurred during Sunday's game with the Devils after being clipped by PK Subban. Interesting.
Sluban.
Yeah, that's where it's getting, and it's not like, doesn't appear to be slowing down at all.
It's weird. I don't know what the hell the deal is, because honestly, like I've always thought that like PK is like he's one of those guys that's a really like classy guy off the ice. He's a part of a lot of really good causes. And he's always like fun to watch when he's like on like NHL Network during the playoffs, because the Devils don't make the playoffs and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know what's gotten into him. I don't know if he's just frustrated that he like doesn't want to play in New Jersey anymore. I don't know what the deal is, but he can't be doing this shit. I don't see a way it's not intentional at this point. You don't accidentally do that like 3 or 4 times.
Even if it's not, you know, I had someone ask me about this the other day, you know, not a hockey fan. They were like, why is that? Like, why is your reaction to that the way it is? And I said, because that's how someone gets hurt really, really easily and for a really long time.
Yeah. So no, you can't be doing shit like that.
No. So let's hope that stops. And obviously want to wish Sammy Blais the best. Torn ACL is just absolutely brutal. The Flyers' Ryan Ellis is out 4 to 6 weeks after aggravating his lower body injury that kept him out for the bulk of pretty much the season so far to this point. He suited up in just 4 of Philadelphia's 14 games this season, missed 9 straight contests with a lower body injury, and then returned last Saturday before re-aggravating the ailment and sat out the next game.
It's a huge blow for Philly. They were thinking that this was going to be a really good pickup for them. I kind of thought it was going to be great for them as well. They needed a shake up, and it's unfortunate because we talked about last week how the Metro has been shaping up and how like who we kind of thought was going to finish in the top 4. And I remember us saying like, what's Philly going to do? Like, where are they going to be? Like, they're kind of, I don't know, they made a lot of moves over the offseason. A lot of people are like, oh shit, they're not messing around. They're pissed that they missed the playoffs last year and all this stuff. They're not in a good spot right now. And yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah,
they're definitely in trouble. Darnell Nurse and Slater Cuckoo were placed on IR by the Oilers last Friday. This is really, really bad news if you're an Oiler fan, because Nurse is averaging a team high 26 minutes of ice time per game this season. And he's also
Slater Cuckoo is one of the coolest names in the NHL, and anytime he's not playing you
just lose street cred. So just cancel all your Oilers bets for the foreseeable future for now.
except for McDavid over 1.5, because
Yeah,
that's still gonna hit every
that
time,
is still money.
especially because neither of those two players that are out now are named McDavid, so that's just like more for him to do on the ice,
Yeah, just more work for him. Brendan Gallagher avoided suspension for sucker punching New York Rangers forward Barclay Goodrow in the final minute of last Tuesday's game. Instead, he was fined $2,500 for roughing.
That was ridiculous. I was watching that game live, and like, what a bonehead move, man. The Canadians were trying to tie that game with their goalie pulled with like a minute and a half left, and they actually were kind of all over the Rangers for a hot second. Like, it looked like they were maybe going to tie it up with the extra skater on, and they line up for a face-off, and Gallagher and Goudreau were just like kind of like elbowing each other, like lining up for the draw on the wing there, and Gallagher just lost his fucking cool, and that shit cannot happen when you're trying to tie a game with like a couple minutes left. It's a selfish play. He got a penalty for it, and then they lost the game. So,
right.
I mean, I can't imagine anybody on that team was very pleased with that. I also have recently been seeing some trade rumors surrounding Brendan Gallagher, and whether the Canadians might be shopping him around a little bit right now. So
that's an interesting one, because I feel like those have popped up not like every year, but like every 2 years, someone either makes them an offer that they turn down. Because I think a lot of teams would kill to have this guy in their lineup. But I don't know if I can see him leaving there this season. Just, it seems like they really, really like what he brings to the table when he's not in the box or hurt.
He's a big piece of that team when he's like playing his game, but I think he's a little bit of a hothead sometimes, and he definitely lacks consistency, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other question is this the year of the sucker punch? We saw Larkin like just clobber Joseph on the second day of the NHL season this year.
Yeah, the fucking haymaker clothesline.
Right. Yeah. Montreal hasn't been busy just there. They also recalled Cole Caufield from the AHL's Laval Rocket. He tallied 5 points in 6 games. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of those games. I watched a little bit of one because it was on NHL Network, and he was by far and away the best player on the ice.
Yeah, I did not get to see that, but that's awesome. I'm glad that he got called back up, and I'm hoping that he actually gets to stay up this time, because I love the guy. I want him to do well.
Same. The Toronto Maple Leafs had a trade. They acquired Kyle Clifford from the Blues in exchange for future considerations. The 30-year-old was placed on waivers and cleared him earlier this past Tuesday and will report on loan to the AHL's Toronto Marlies.
God, it seems like that dude future considerations gets traded all the time. I mean,
all the time.
He's just kind of a suitcase at this point.
I didn't know that was the rapper's last name, and I didn't know he played for so many NHL teams.
I know, me neither. It's kind of crazy.
Learn something new every day. The Anaheim Ducks assigned their 18-year-old Mason Mctavish to the OHL. The club sent him back this past Saturday. He skated in 9 games for the Ducks this season, recording 2 goals and assists while averaging 13 minutes of ice time per contest. The Ducks sent him back because a 10th NHL appearance by him this season would essentially kill a year off of his entry-level contract, and you want him on that deal for as long as possible.
Yeah, they're just trying to save a little bit of money on this one. He actually was quite good and quite important this year, but yeah. I think they got their look at him. They know, like, okay, they know what they're working with this player now, and I don't think it'll hurt them to have him just develop a little bit more, because he looked good. He looked good to me.
He looks really good.
For playing him too, so.
And I think it's worth pointing out that he's eligible to play for Canada at the World Juniors this year.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
So that's just, great news for us. Wanted to get to some rumors moving around the league. I know you talked about Brendan Gallagher potentially being traded out of Montreal, but one I've seen is that they could look to move defenseman Ben Sherrod at the deadline, and their likely ask would be a first rounder. Do you think they would get a first rounder in return for him? I don't know if I see that.
I don't know. It depends. I mean, it's all about supply and demand. It's like blue liners are really important. You need a good defenseman. There's going to be a lot of teams looking to add a solid, established defenseman, which, like, I don't think Ben Sherrod is like a superstar defenseman, but I do think he's like a steady Eddie, like second pair guy that I could name at least probably 10 teams in the NHL whose defense would get tremendously better by adding Ben Sherrod. So while it doesn't necessarily make sense to say, like, outwardly Ben Sherratt is equivalent to a first round draft pick, I do understand that could be a realistic asking price simply because like they're just going to play high ball with it. Like, okay, if you're not going to give us a first round pick, then we're just going to keep him. Like, it's one of those things where they kind of have a little bit of leverage with that situation, I think, just because a lot of teams are needing a defenseman and with injuries. And I mean, look at Philadelphia, right? No Ryan Ellis for the next month plus. They could use Ben Sherratt right now.
Yeah. I think you could also see like a situation where a team that's like making a big push, that just wants to load up and add another key piece on the back end, throws a first rounder at them and basically just uses them as a rental for the playoffs.
Right. I mean, I could almost see this as like, look at the Caps in 2018 when they add Michael Kempny and how big of a difference that dude made.
Exactly.
I think Ben Sherratt is a better player right now than Kempny was when we added him. So
definitely.
I think that he could totally be a really underrated piece that could just really like solidify a decor in the NHL and actually make a big difference for the playoffs, like you said.
Yeah, and Tampa did that with David Savard too, right?
Yeah, and also Ben Sherratt just played in the Stanley Cup final last year, so I mean he's a worthy candidate. He's definitely knows how to play in some big games, so I'm sure he wants to win a cup.
Yep. Another rumor I want to get to. I know we're all excited about the Seattle Kraken, but there could be a potential return of the Quebec Nordiques in the works now, which I think would be pretty sick. The premier of Quebec said, we have an arena in Quebec City that is already built. Contacts are being made with Mr. Betton. We are looking at what we need to do to bring the Nordiques back. I think we are ready to have a second team in Quebec. So
that would be wild.
They have
absolutely bonkers.
They have an arena there that I think holds like 16,000, if that makes sense. And right now, the only tenant in that arena, like permanently, is the Quebec Remparts from the Q. But I think this would be awesome. Like if we could get a Quebec Montreal playoff series out of this, that's like just one is enough for me.
Yeah, people would die.
Multiple people would die.
Yeah, like I'm just thinking about how crazy the Habs fans were in the streets during their like cup final thing last year, and they didn't even like almost win that cup final.
Right.
But like I'm trying to picture like a Quebec versus Montreal like second round series or something like that, and like there would be like blood in the streets for sure.
Blood in the streets and nothing but cigarette smoke in the upper bowl.
Yep, exactly.
Rumor has it that the Vancouver Canucks have sent requests to local media to tone down the negativity regarding the team's poor performance. The Canucks have also pulled multiple advertising or sponsorship deals from local sports shows, and multiple reports state that the team's owner, is behind the request to tone down the negativity towards the team. So if you're not familiar, the Canucks are 5-10-2 to start the season and sit 7th in the Pacific. That's 3 points ahead of last place Seattle. So what do you think about this? Do you think this is like justified? Do you think this is something that we're going to see other sports teams start to do? Or do you think this is just an absolute circus?
I mean, I think I'm somewhere in between. I understand. And I think it's totally a valid point that there's a lot of pressure put on athletes, specifically hockey players in Canada. And I think that's fair. However, I can't help but laugh a little bit because at the end of the day, this is just the owner literally making like a statement and being like, hey, can you guys stop being so mean, please? Like you guys are being kind of mean and we don't really appreciate it. And it's kind of funny.
The part that cracks me up, and I know these are totally unrelated, but this is also the city that flipped a bus and set it on fire, killed 9 people after losing the Stanley Cup final. So
right, that's what I'm saying. Like it is a little bit of a circus clown show just because it's the Canucks, but that's the circus right there. I'm sure if you're a player on the Canucks, though, you're like, okay, I'm sick of seeing like every newspaper say that like I suck every day. And
or like I pick up my phone every day and the first 4 tweets are telling me I should lose my job.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, okay, I get it. Also, I forget who, which NHL team recently was having the fans chant, fire the GM.
Is it, was that the Canucks too?
I thought it was. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah, isn't Benning the
I think he.
Canucks GM? That sounds right to me. I mean, I
Yes,
could be wrong.
yes,
It
he
is him.
They
Okay.
they were yelling "Fire Benning" at like a recent Canucks game, and they they interviewed Benning about it. Like after the game, they were like, "How does it how does it feel to hear fans in your own stadium yelling "Fire Benning"?" And he was like, "It's hurtful. I have to admit, it's hurtful." Like, of
No
course,
shit.
yeah, like what a dumb fucking question, but like that also kind of made me laugh a little bit. I feel bad for the guy. Nobody wants to hear their name chanted with like "get this guy fired," of course.
Right.
It's kind of funny. It's
like it is funny. It's like it also makes me want to smack the person that asked him that question. But
right. I mean, yeah, I get it. Somebody probably just had to ask that, but like his answer just so simple. Just yeah, it's hurtful.
yeah. Yeah, it sucks.
I
You should try it.
Yeah. It also takes me back to the days when I would be sitting at the MCI Center and you'd hear "Fire Hanlon."
Yep. All too well. Remember that one all too well. A couple of retirements to get to. Dion Phaneuf has officially called it a career. The former D-man spent time with the Flames, Leafs, Senators, and Kings in a career that spanned over 14 seasons and well over 1,000 games. The 36-year-old has not played in the NHL since the Kings bought out his contract in 2019. They took him, the Flames, that is, took him in the first round of the 2003 draft, which if you haven't seen that draft class, you might want to go read that one over because it's pretty sick. The three-time All-Star enjoyed a stunning rookie campaign during the 05-06 season, ending the year with 20 goals and 29 assists, which as a defenseman is nothing to sneeze at. He was named a finalist for the Calder Trophy that year, alongside these two other guys you might have heard of. One's name is Sidney Crosby. I don't think he ever amounted to anything. And then the other guy's name is Alex Ovechkin.
Rings a bell.
Very vaguely, though.
Yeah, I think I know.
He was also nominated for the Norris Trophy during the 07-08 season, but lost to Nick Lidstrom. So I don't really think that
also good company.
Yeah, anyone can be mad about that. But
yeah, I will say I used to think of Phaneuf and Iginla like hand in hand. Like those two were kind of like a duo when they were. I mean, I know one plays D and one plays forward, but like those two on the same like sheet of ice constantly in Calgary for all those years was pretty sweet to watch.
We're on the same power play together for a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other retirement we have to get to is Troy Brauer, former Cap, retires from the NHL after 14 seasons, played 851 games with 5 teams and won the Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks in 2010.
He also scored a sick-ass goal in the Winter Classic against the Blackhawks with 2 seconds left to win the game at Nats Park. So that was pretty awesome. I always loved Brauer. He wore number 20. That was always my number playing hockey. I had a Troy Brauer t-shirt jersey for a long time. Yeah, I heard nothing but good things about this guy like throughout his career. Seemed like a locker room favorite. And just an overall good guy. So congrats to him in retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% one of the fan favorites when he was in Washington. Guys just absolutely loved him.
Definitely. And he seemed like a good mentor too. Like they would always play him with like some of the younger guys and they would seem to take to him pretty well.
Yeah. Can you name the 5 teams he played for?
Ooh, let's see. Okay. Washington Capitals, Chicago Blackhawks, St. Louis Blues. Was he on the Calgary Flames?
I think so.
I think that's one of them. And God, let's see.
It's going to be some like cheap one, isn't it?
Oh, man. Do you have it in front of you?
I'm pulling it up on Elite Prospects now.
I'm almost positive I'm right about the Flames.
Sounds right.
I would like you to confirm that once you get this pulled up.
Coming to you. Oh, and
it wasn't the Stars, was it?
So you're right. It was the Hawks. It was the Caps. It was the Blues. It was the Flames.
In that order.
He did the Blues twice.
Okay.
And the second time it was for like 13 games.
I do. Yeah, I remember that.
But 18-19, he played 75 games with someone else and they were in the East.
Was that his final campaign?
He played 13 games with the Blues the next year after that, but
And that was the end.
yeah.
Okay. And it's in the East. Was he on the Panthers?
Yep. Got
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Huge shout out to him. I thought when you said he scored a huge goal, I thought you were going to say the one he scored in that playoff game in Boston with like a minute and 4 seconds left, just stole in down like the right wing and just clunked one right over Rask's shoulder.
Okay. I think I remember that too.
Yeah.
I'll have to pull that one up later
And
rewatch that.
I was watching it with my dad, and all I remember is like 5 minutes later, my mom's like, "Is the game over?" And I was like, "Yeah, they won." She's like, "I didn't hear you screaming." I'm like, "I'm just relieved we don't have to go to overtime right now."
Exactly. It's just one of those where it's just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. And just like, it's what it's like being a Capitals fan in the
really
playoffs.
is.
It's just the worst.
It's like in a tie game, and it's happening right now in the fucking regular season with the Capitals too. It's like if you're in a tie game and you see the regulation clock with like 30 seconds left, you may as well be losing the game with
pretty
30
much
seconds left, because you're like, shit, if we don't score a goal, we're gonna lose.
Yeah. Which
That's just how it is.
actually, but before we hop into gambling, let's talk about that for a second. What in the hell does that team need to do to fix their 3-on-3 overtime?
Win faceoffs.
That would be a start.
Even that though, I mean, we actually controlled the puck like the whole time in that Anaheim overtime, and we still fucking lost. And it was on the same thing. It's like somebody gets the puck in the offensive zone for the other team, and they like make one little like shoulder shimmy and then step back the other way and then like rip one over the goalie's like glove.
Yeah.
And it's like
everyone's faster than them now. So
right. But it's like frustrating too, because like almost everybody is like kind of in the right positioning. Like there's no like glaring thing where you're like, oh, it's this guy's fault or like it's that guy's fault. It's just like, oh my God, like what do we have to do? We just lost another fucking game in overtime. And like when we do have the puck, we just can't get like solid chances. Like they're all over us every time. We'll like come into the zone and we're like, oh shit, there's nothing here. Let's do the thing where we like go back to the red line and try to like work
like
it in.
The Soviet system.
Then eventually we'll just make a bad change at the wrong time, and that'll be that. Like,
yeah. That, or they get stuck on the ice for a minute and a half, and then it's
then Kuznetsov is like huffing and puffing down the side trying to fucking back check, which he doesn't really do well anyway.
No, it's just like, you need to, I know Dowd's been hurt, but like put that dude out there to win the face off. And then as soon as he win it, you get him off and I love Ovi to death. Ovi's great. Ovi's not the guy you want carrying the puck in overtime.
They also had Ovi and Protus out there together during the Anaheim game. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, no, no. I think I want like Kuzi, Carlson, and like Oshie, or like Kuzi, Carlson, and like, I mean, if Backstrom was healthy, fuck, of course I want him, guys, but yeah, it's a mess.
Honestly, if I was them, start putting the kids out there. I'm totally good with that. Put McMichael out there.
McMichael out there for sure.
He's fast. He's got wheels. He's got the legs. Why not? I think Orlov's good in there too.
I actually was gonna say that. I don't hate like 2D, like Kuzi, Orlov, Carlson. I'm kind of cool with that.
Or if you're in, if they have a offensive zone face-off, Eller, Orlov, Carlson, just shut it down.
Yeah. Eller's good in those situations usually.
Yeah. The big problem is, and honestly, I think Anthony Mantha is just built for 3-on-3 overtime, but
because he's big, he's fast.
He's fast. He's got the hands, and he can create the space in the corner, kick the puck up top or kick it down low, whatever you want to do.
Like if you like give him even like an inch of room by like the top of the circles, he's just gonna put it bar down. Like it doesn't matter if you're in the right position. He's the guy to do what keeps happening to the Caps.
Yes.
Where like our guys are kind of in the right position, but like somebody on the other team just snipes one past the D.
Zegras or Larkin just comes down and just
exactly past the D over the goalie's shoulder. That's what we need Mantha to do. And dude had surgery. So
yeah, hopefully he's doing well. Let's go ahead and wrap up. We'll get to our gambling stuff. But before we do, I think you want to tell us a little bit about Sharp Rank.
Yep. Just want to remind you that this season, all of our picks are powered by Sharp Rank. Sharp Rank created the first ever cross-sport rating system, ranking bettors from any sport on one leaderboard that anyone can dominate, even you. Sharp Rank is backed by some of the biggest names in sports gambling world, such as BetMGM, and Sports Illustrated. Download the free app for iPhone and Android today.
Making me work for that one, huh?
Yeah, I mean the Yachtlander one is longer than the Sharp Rank one, so I think it's.
You had to slow that one down a little bit. I like it.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's talk some gambling. Rough week for you and I specifically.
Yeah, we suck at this.
Yeah, it's not good right now. I told Nick
the other day, I was like, God, betting on hockey is almost as difficult as like trying to predict the future. You know, it's like
it is, and it's
almost
a challenge.
Like it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's one of the things I feel like when I talk about betting with my girlfriend, she doesn't understand that I cannot see the future.
Yeah, she's like, why don't you just pick the team that's going to win?
Right. I think I should start doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, bets that we've liked as of late. The McDavid over 1.5 is solid.
And Leon. I also like Leon to score a goal and Connor to score a goal. Both of those are still usually like even, like plus 100 or like minus 110 or something like that. You can get it at a pretty good price. So
yeah,
I would say, especially if you find yourself in a situation where it's like, okay, you won a couple bets, maybe you're up 20, 30, $50, something like that. And the Oilers are playing at home. Throw what you've made so far on like Leon to score a goal or like McDavid to score a goal. And there's a pretty good chance it's going to happen and you double your money. So,
yeah. One other one, or at least a trend that I've seen that I think is interesting is the Leafs. Someone, I think it was either NHL Discussion or NHL Breakers put this stat out. The Leafs are in the top 3 for fewest goals against as a team, and they're also in the top 3 for outscoring their opponents.
That is a good one. Another one that I saw today, for some reason, every time I've seen that the Calgary Flames are playing somebody this year, I've been like, I don't want to touch that game just because I never know like what to think of that team. Like the Flames are such a wild card to me. However, I saw a stat today that showed like each goalie's stats, Markstrom's stats and Vladar's stats.
Markstrom's got what, 6 shutouts now?
Yeah, and Vladar is like 4-1 with like a 950 save percentage and like a 1-something GAA. Like he's been like just as fucking good just without all the shutouts as Markstrom. So honestly, like Flames unders are not a bad pick. Flames money lines are not a bad pick.
Flames puck lines, I think, are going to start coming into play here.
Yeah, I would keep your eye on the Calgary Flames.
So let's talk about them for a second. So they've played their first place in the Pacific right now. They're a point ahead of Edmonton, but they've played 2 more games than them. Mm-hmm. Are you ready to say that the Calgary Flames are a good hockey team? Or is it still way too early for you?
I don't know. I don't trust that team. I trust the goaltending. You can't argue with those stats. They have 2 good goalies, and they have 1 excellent goalie. Markstrom might be the best in the league so far this year. I think you have to
performance-wise, yeah.
Yeah. And Darth Vader, I mean, he was like fine in Boston, but I think it just might be one of those things where you put him with another excellent goalie, and he's just going to battle to like get some starts. And when he gets
whatever
starts,
they've been working on in practice, or maybe the load management, something
right,
like that,
or just like
clicks.
He's not going to start that many games because of how good Markstrom is. So when he does start, he wants to make it count, like that kind of a thing. And he
like when Sammy was backing up Holtby that year,
right? And he was actually fucking good because he wanted to play.
Yeah.
Which by the way, Sammy has actually been nuts recently. So.
Second star of the week.
And now Vanacek looks bad. So I don't really know what the hell is going on with the Caps goalies, but that's a whole nother thing. Maybe stay clear of Caps games for a little while until the Caps figure out like if either of our goalies are actually any good.
But the best part is they won't decide that until the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And the one game that you decide to bet on, one of them will be the one where that goalie decides to
get lit up.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of what Nick and I are dealing with lately.
Is there anything else in terms of like player props that you like?
I still love OV player props. They're cheap for some fucking reason. An OV goal is still like plus 100. An OV assist is like plus 120. And
I think that's a really good bet right now.
Yeah, he's had a lot of assists. He had 3 points the other night. He had, I think, 2 last night as well, if I'm not mistaken. Like OV multiple points is not a bad bet. And that is always going to be like plus 130 at least, I would say, for 2 points. He also leads the league getting shots on goal, which this one is a little more dangerous because you can't get it for anything other than like 5 shots on goal for good value. But he usually gets like anywhere from like 4 to like 8 shots on goal per game.
Yeah.
The tricky thing about that is it's all going to depend on if the Caps are getting a lot of power plays or not. If the Caps get even
And
2
if the puck hits the net.
Right, that's true. But if the Caps get even 2 or 3 power plays in a game, he's going to get 5 shots on goal that game.
You can basically look at it like he gets 2 shots on goal per power play. Because I feel like that's fair, for the amount of times that they force him the puck, which they do, and people still can't stop it. So I would say the trend that I think I like right now is I love betting Rangers puck line on the road when Shesterkin is in goal.
Yeah,
they've been pretty successful with that all year. The value is usually great. I've gotten it in the plus 230s a couple times this season. So I think that's one that I'm, going to go back to. That's been one of my staples all season so far. Is there anything else gambling wise that you want to get to before we wrap up here? Or?
Panthers at home have also been absolutely money all season.
Unbeaten.
Yep.
Looking at like what we've seen so far now, I wanted to close with this. What playoff matchup do you want to see the most right now?
That is a good question. We talked about it a little bit last week, but I would love to see another Florida Tampa Bay one. I think that'd be even better than it was last year because I think that the Florida team has taken a big step forward and Tampa Bay has leveled out a little bit.
Yep.
But also they'd be getting Kucherov back again for the playoffs and all that shit. So I'm sure that would be a great series once again. What other ones would be good? Let's see.
I'd like to see Florida and Carolina. I think that one would be great. 2 emerging sort of newer hockey markets from the South,
Yeah, I like that. The hard part here is there's a couple teams that come to mind, but I'm not sure if they're going to make the playoffs. Like Anaheim and LA have both been so good. I don't see any way they both make the playoffs. I do think there's a chance one of them sneaks in though, in which case I think they would give almost anybody kind of a tough matchup just because of the way they're built. And all the young speed on both of those teams too. Also,
they can burn you a lot of ways.
Like, let's not forget that Anaheim just has John Gibson. Like, as shaky as their team can be,
if he shows up,
one of the best goalies in the league. So, yeah.
That's a great point. That's a guy that I think legitimately could challenge Connor Hellebuck for the Olympic starting job.
Well, and I'm saying like if the Ducks find a way to sneak into the playoffs, look out because Gibson is probably going to have at least one shutout in a 7-game series, and he's going to make it really tough to score. So
he's going to hold you to at least 1 goal in 3 other games. So I think I'd like to see Minnesota. I mean, they're first in the Central right now. I think them and like St. Louis or something, or them in Winnipeg in like a 2nd round matchup would be great. And then if
they played a great game against the Lightning last night, I actually don't even remember which team won, but all I know is the Lightning were winning that game 4-2 with about 3 minutes left. Wild scored, made it 4-3, pulled their goalie, scored again with like 30 seconds left to tie the game at 4s. Scoreless through overtime. Somebody won in the shootout. I'm forgetting who at this point, but it was a great game and just goes to show Minnesota is capable of playing anybody pretty closely on any given night.
Yeah, I think they've been fantastic to start the season. And I think nothing could be better for the NHL, like as a league, than getting like Minnesota to the conference finals or something.
I think so too. That's a hockey town and that team would have a ton of fans super excited to see that team go far.
Absolutely. Other than that, I don't really have a ton of other gambling trends that I love, so we can go ahead and wrap it there. Anything else before we close out?
Nah, we'll have more for you when Harry's back, if Harry ever comes back from Mexico, like we said at the beginning.
I don't know. It's a toss up. So
we may never hear from him again, but hopefully we do. Kind of like him. So
no, I'm kidding. What are your plans for Thanksgiving? We got the holiday coming up this week.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be fortunate enough to go to 2 Capitals games this week. If you see me on Wednesday or Friday, come say hi. I'll also be at the Ravens game about a week from now, next Sunday, with my mom. So that'll be a fun one too. If you're there tailgating, let me know. We'll meet up. We'll have some fun. We'll drink some beers. Hopefully the Ravens will win a game. Hopefully Lamar Jackson can stay healthy for a week and actually I'll get to see him play. So
yeah, that would be nice. We're doing like low key thing here. Fam comes over, that kind of thing, just trying to survive the weekend. So we did the alcohol run today. So I think I'll be okay.
sounds good. Yeah.
Yep. You know how it is. Well, I think that's it. Go check out the fall merch. Like we said, go participate in the giveaway. It's your chance to win some, like it's like $100, I think, value of like free stuff. It's awesome. The stuff is incredible. Jersey looks sick. Whiskey glasses are awesome. Brackish Life t-shirt is so comfortable. I have like 3 or 4 of those myself, and I'm probably going to get more around Christmas time, to be honest, but feel free to go check that out online. Check us out on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to be doing some cool stuff on there later. And Mac, you got anything else? Are we good here?
I'm all good.
Alrighty, everyone. Well, without further ado, class dismissed.